let's have a conversation.
What's up, everybody? Happy Sunday. How y'all doing? Just a disclaimer. I never watched the original Squid Games. I just started watching that after watching the Squid Games challenge. The original Squid Games Korean series. I am now about 3 episodes in. I'm pretty hooked in with that now, and I'm late, but I am going to watch all of those episodes. But I have watched all 5 episodes of the newest one, which is the actual reenactment of the television show to an extent, because you obviously cannot reenact the television show in true fashion, because there was a bunch of people who owed money. There was dying going on in there. There was a whole bunch of stuff. But the game version of it, the at-home version, which is pretty interesting to me. I saw the Korean series with English dub. I loved it. Can't wait for season 2. Oh, so are they going to make a season 2 of that version? I don't know, because I am pretty much new to the Squid Games. So with that said, I am new to the Squid Games. So I'm not even going to try to tell you guys things based on people's names or even their numbers. I'm bad with names as is. I'm not going to remember 456 names. It is what it is. Stop. Watch the show first. Perfect timing. Just got back from food shopping. Oh, they're getting a season 2. Nice. So we started out in episode 1 with the famous red light, green light. But in the original, obviously, they didn't know what they signed up for, and they didn't know that people were going to be dying in this game of red light, green light. They didn't know they were literally signing their lives away, potentially. So they reenacted that in game form. The one thing about Squid Games, the challenge, is that I'm sitting here and like, this is so luck based. It would be cool to be a part of it to an extent, but I'm like, my chances of winning that 4.56 million are so slim that if I decided to go on that game, it would just be for the experience, to be like, hey, I was on the Squid Games challenge version for the novelty. If I won, I would be ecstatic, but I would not be expecting to win, because I'm seeing something like the red light, green light thing and the motion detection. It's kind of subjective in a way. Yes, original series greenlit for season 2, but last I heard no air date, which seems to be the case for a lot of things they're putting on Netflix. There's a whole bunch of shows that I'm waiting for. I hope all is well. I'm watching Squid now. I like it. Yeah, I like it too. How do we send you popcorn so you can binge the series? You can send me super chat and I will go out and get the popcorn and show you the popcorn as proof that I used your super chat money for the popcorn. Hey, nerds, I have no idea what this is, but here I am. So they did the game of red light, green light. 200 and something people made it through that game. They shot them with, I don't know what those things are, paintball type things. I wouldn't make it out the gate, but I love the age range. It seems like they tried to emulate a little bit how the show was in a way. And when I say emulate, obviously the games, but it seems like they tried to emulate the people who they casted to play the games. Like they had an old guy, they had this Asian guy with glasses. They had people that actually either looked like some of the characters from the show or fit the description in a sense. Like obviously most of the people in the original series were Korean, and not every, and there's a much more of a mixture of cultures in this one, but they still kind of, okay, we need somebody old, we need somebody who looks like this, we need somebody that looks like this. There was something I was thinking about though, show wise. I'm not thinking of Big Brother. I'm thinking of more. There was another show in my head and I can't think of it. I'm probably gonna think of it as soon as I get off this live. I have popcorn. So then they did this Dalgona candy challenge. The candy challenge thing was kind of funny to me because they had to run up to the shapes. They had the circle, the triangle, the star, and the umbrella. And obviously, nobody wanted the umbrella. But why this was funny to me was because there were people who were like, I'm willing to let this whole group of 4 die in the game just because I do not want to be the umbrella. When you have games like this going on, it just shows you where people's mindsets are at. Instead of saying, okay, I know the umbrella is the hardest thing to carve out, but if nobody picks the umbrella and we can't agree, then we all go. Some people are like, fine, we will all go. Other people are like, I'll make an agreement with y'all. And some are like, I'll just take one for the team. Now, I might be the one who says, I can't carve this umbrella, so we're all going down. Not gonna lie, I take everyone down with me to avoid that umbrella. Me too, probably. So let's see. So they were down to 119 players. Sheesh. That's a lot. Yeah, they lost a lot more players a lot quicker than the show version. They got into the dorm thing that emulates the show. There was a point in time where 2 of the players had some beef. 198, player number 198 and 432 for people who remember those things. I have it written down. I can picture them in my head, but aside from writing them down, I would have no idea. But 198 and 432, one of them was kind of a threatening jock kind of guy who was like, I'll fight you basically on the outside of here. Like, he was basically like, inside this game, I'm not going to touch you, but I'm not going to make the same promise to you outside of this game. I'm going to have to check out this stuff. Some people like it and some people don't. I mean, I admit that for me, it's different as somebody who just started watching the original. Some people are saying it's a very light version of that, which I can see because just in the first few episodes of the Korean drama version that I watched, it's totally different where it shows all these people's backstories and the ways that they all had these terrible lives that they got themselves into and how they basically didn't know what they were getting into the first time and then had a chance to not participate, but then kind of realized that their lives on the outside were hell and chose to come back. It's a whole different thing with the backstory. But I still see it being, I still like this version because I like competition and it was honestly smart of them to create an actual competition version. It's just like, it's so random. It's so random. Like, how do you win? Shoot. Anyways, the part that I was getting to was that number 198 picked up the phone because he wanted to get rid of the jock guy, 432. He picked up the phone the first time, and then he got out of that one. And then he picked up the phone the second time because he wanted to get a chance to take out number 432. And the second time, they were like, you have 2 minutes to convince somebody to take this phone from you. I think the first time they got food. Yeah, the first time they got food from him picking up the phone. He got a tray of food. Yeah, now I remember. He got like a tray of food and everyone just ravaged the food. And he was like, I didn't really even want the food. I just wanted people to take, I just wanted to get the opportunity to take out 432. The dummy picks up the phone again. I'm like, I only have to watch a little bit of the original Squid Games to know don't pick up the phone twice if you don't have to. I probably wouldn't have even picked up the phone once just to get out one person. I would have been like, let's see how this plays out. The lead. I'm going to leave this phone alone. He picks up a second time. Come on now. Picks up the phone the second time. They're like, you got 2 minutes to convince somebody to take this phone from you. Otherwise, you know, you could potentially be out of the game. So on the spot, he comes up with the worst thing. Hey, you want food? I forgot what he said they had, but he said that they had some kind of food. And they were like, oh, a few of them were like, oh, I want that. I want that. But then everybody else was like, don't take that phone from him. Do not take that phone. It was kind of dramatic because it did look like a couple people were going to pick up the phone. What I would do if I was holding that phone is that to say that the person on the phone told me that 10 people are getting eliminated if I can't get anyone to pick up this phone. Like, I would make it fear-based instead of a reward-based, because their rewards always seem to come with some kind of consequence. So I would not be like, oh, food, you're going to get food if you take the phone from me. That's sus. I felt like he did a really bad job trying to make something up. Hi, Mark. You should have noticed the cocky player and stayed on the triangle. I see 432 being the challenge option if they pull from Netflix cast at some point. I could see that. 432 was a high school kid. He looks pretty old for a high school kid. It's refreshing to not see any onion alliances. Oh, yeah, and then I forgot to mention the mother and son that were in there and the mistake they made, which I'm getting to soon. I think I don't think it's scripted, but I think it's scripted in a sense of like how regular competition shows are scripted, meaning there is an invisible production hand in it, but I don't think it's actually like, here's your script. The phone guy played it all wrong. He panicked for sure, and he looked really, really obvious with it. There's a scripted show and a reality show which just came out. Yeah, we're talking about the new reality show. Oh, he said cheeseburger and fries. That's what he said. Cheeseburger. Oh, that was the first one. First one was cheeseburger and fries. Episode 3 had this pretty cool thing. Hey, Mark, so glad to make it to a live in real time. Thanks for joining, Melanie. I know, I just want to. Oh, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's fully scripted. Episode 3. But something about these competition shows, I actually read through a Big Brother application before because I considered applying for Big Brother at one point. Like right after season 23, I considered applying for Big Brother, but those days are over. But when I was reading through the application, it had a lot of things that talked about production can do things to impact outcomes. Like you're signing paperwork that says that you acknowledge that they can arbitrarily change things around, change rules, you know, that kind of thing. But in episode 3, they did a cool thing, which was reenact a childhood game for me well, another childhood game, because a lot of them are childhood games. Um, Battleship. I haven't played Battleship since I was in elementary school. And this was a live battleship where you actually stand in your ship, and then I think there was two captains, and the captains, you know, pick where the missiles go. So I thought that was really cool. Always have a, this is what I'm trying to say. I don't even have to know Squid Games to be like, I mean, I only have to know very little about Squid Games to know, like, why am I going to volunteer for something if I don't have to? Squid Games is not the type of game that you really want to volunteer. You could get lucky sometimes. I think Battleship was, oh, they didn't have that in the original because I'm still only 3 episodes into that, which I'm going to binge that. I'm definitely planning to binge that. So the next time, I think November 29, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, on Wednesday, by the time that they have the new episode drops for this, I'm probably going to be caught up on the other version. And also, by the way, people who get on these Netflix shows are much easier to secure for interviews than people who get on CBS shows. I'm just saying. So I'm probably going to start looking up some of these people and maybe reaching out, see what happens. If I could get myself an interview. Maybe they will play Candyland. That is good to know. No more spoilers coming from me. Yeah, so Battleship, which they called Warship, but it's Battleship. The teams had to divide. They had to divide up the teams, and each had a captain and lieutenant who decided where the missiles go. They had 4 boats of varying sizes. The notable thing that I had from that was the bully guy getting out. Aside from that, it was just a fun thing to watch. There wasn't really, oh yeah, it made it dramatic where the mother and son, there was one more missile left to go and they would have both been out of the game because every sunk battleship, all those people have to go. And the other team picked the wrong one, the wrong peg, and they got the right peg, so they both got to stay in the game. 432 is one I'd like to hear from. He's getting a lot of hate because of how he came off on the show. Can you possibly make which live? Oh, you're talking about on the 29th? What the 29th is Wednesday? No. I can't do that live on Wednesday because Wednesday is challenge day, but probably Thursday I can do that one. The next Squid Games recap, but I don't think I'm going to do Thursday either because not everybody binges all the episodes on the same day. So I'm probably going to push that to maybe Saturday or Sunday for that. What about the coach and his mustard seed power? Oh yeah, the coach. Oh yeah. I think they said mustard seed in there and I was cracking up about that. I was literally cracking up about that. Okay. Every time I hear mustard seed anything, I'm going to be thinking of Felicia now. She's definitely memorable from her cast. Oh, and then they had the 5 players that volunteered. Wait a minute. 5 players that volunteered to stand behind Jack in the Boxes, arranged on a counter. So they had to turn the Jack in the Box, and whatever sprung up would have a message. Either they could eliminate somebody else, they could give somebody an advantage, or they could be eliminated immediately. Um, Give me 2 minutes. I will be right back. Give me 2 minutes. I will be right back. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm back now. Where are we at here? Yes, they did. I laughed for 15 minutes. I could definitely see Felicia on this show, even though I'd see her getting eliminated very early. But it would be funny to see. I also want to hear from that woman that eliminated that was that eliminated the two bros and the guy with the advantage. She came to play. That one lady who eliminated the old man was savage. That was a savage elimination. Oh, that's the one thing that I forgot to mention about that battleship game. I forgot which team he was on. I think he was on. Was he on the blue team? The old guy, the guy in his late 60s, and then the whole team wanted to pick this one spot, and the whole team would have been wrong. And then the captain was like, "Doc, what do you think?" Because he's a doctor, so he's like, "Doc, what do you think?" He picked a spot that was against what the whole team said that they thought should have been the choice, like F5 or something like that, and he picked F8. So it was a choice between. I'm so surprised that I just remembered that, by the way. But they had a choice between the top and the bottom slot, and the whole group was going to pick the top slot, which was there was not a person there in the battleship. And then he picked the bottom slot, and they made a really dramatic edit, and his pick was right. So he saved the whole team, and then he got taken out by this Jack in the Box thing, which was very savage, as I was saying. That wasn't even 1 minute. That was a fun moment. They kind of edit it. That reminds me of what I was going to say. They kind of edit this similarly to the circle. They make the end of episodes extremely dramatic. It reminds me of a circle-esque type of edit. So it's kind of feeding the hole in my heart for where the circle needs to be. Because I'm like, how have you filmed season 5 and 6 and 7, and we have some indefinite, we don't know when it's going to even air. Okay, so they did that Jack in the Box thing. A bunch of the alliances got shaken up. They took some big shots with the Jack in the Box, because some of them got to eliminate 1, some got to eliminate 2, some got to eliminate 3. So with episode 5, there were people that volunteered to go do this challenge. The challenge ended up being that they had to squeeze a certain amount of orange juice into making oranges. They had to create orange juice from these oranges, a certain amount, to be able to win the challenge. So they did however much they did in the time limit. And then the voice was just like, you're not going to know. Go back out to the dorm and you'll find out. So then they said, hey, just letting you guys know, y'all succeeded at the challenge. Succeeded at the challenge. So they're like, oh, yes. So because of the you succeeded at the challenge, you guys are going to get to have a picnic. And I'm sitting here like, at this point, everything that you think is good when it comes to the Squid Games is not good. So I don't even know why anybody thought it was a celebration. Like, oh, here's your picnic. That's all. That's the end. You get a picnic and that's it. So they have to choose to sit on blankets. This is how I know that none of them have played like a Big Brother or The Challenge, or might not even be big fans of those types of shows, because when people go on to the challenge is a better example than Big Brother, because Big Brother, when they have people that come in together, it's more of an exception than what regularly happens. But on the challenge, I'll use the example of the last season that Cam and Leroy played together, for anyone who watches the challenge, where they were like, they had a chance at one point to pick partners. So they're like, we're not going to pick each other as partners, because then they're going to probably vote us both out. So they're like, okay, you guys take this picnic basket and you get a blanket and you choose who you sit with. Do not sit with your mom. Do not sit with your friend that you made on there. Do not sit with somebody who you wouldn't want to see eliminated. That is just classic reality competition show 101. I didn't even know what the marbles meant at that point. And I would not have sat with my mother. I would not have sat with my bestie. I would not have sat with somebody I even really know. I'd sit with the person who I don't care if they live or die in the game. That's the person who I would sit with. And I know it's easier said than done, but I just don't think that if you have a known alliance person that you want to be in the game, especially a randomized game like this, that it's in your best interest to sit by them, cling with them, sit on that picnic table, sit on that blanket with them. So they showed, I don't know, I'm laughing because it's kind of funny to me, but the son was looking at the marbles and he's like, oh no. So then they announced, hey, so what's going to happen here is that y'all who are sitting with each other are going to have to play games against each other, and only half of you are coming back. And I was like, ooh. They fell so hard for that picnic. You never pick your friends exactly. I hope they keep going with Squid Challenge. Yeah, I like it. As far as fair, I think it's just such, I guess it's fair in a sense that it's such an equal opportunist game. Everybody can get it, but fair in terms of, it's not the type of game where you can walk in there and be number one and be like, it's my strategy that got me here. I really don't feel like it's that type of game. They only showed one person picking someone they weren't close with. Oh yeah, yeah. And then there was that guy who was like, I don't mind being on the blanket by myself, because he's worried about, possibly being on there with somebody else. So that's how the last episode that they showed ended. I actually liked these series of episodes. I will admit, I went in clean without having seen the original Squid Games, but it was interesting enough. The Squid Games challenge was interesting enough for me to go back and start watching the original Squid Games, and I like it. I actually participated in like a parody version of the Squid Games, but I mean, I can show you guys what it was, but you probably won't see me in there because I was only able to participate in half of it. so I wasn't in one of the scenes where somebody got killed, so you probably wouldn't even see me in there. But I didn't even understand what the Squid Games was when I participated in it, but I thought it was just a fun thing that they were doing, like a fun video shoot. But yeah, I'm interested to see the next set of episodes, which are coming in a few days. I'm curious now how it'll work for the person who, yeah, I'm curious about that too. If they're going to just be like, well, since you weren't sitting with anybody, you don't have to play, or if they're going to make them play something else. I don't know. It's the game with the random rules. That's how I see the Squid Games. It's a game where it doesn't matter, old, young. There's not going to be a jag that's like, we're just going to walk through this game, because there's no such thing as an advantage in this game. Even getting the advantage of having to pick 1, 2, 3 people to eliminate, it means that you have to show your cards. So it's an advantage because you're not eliminated. But I think the best thing to do is to lay low in this game. As much as possible, the best thing to do is to lay low. Because the more you're out there is the more of a target you are. And I still don't understand why people are so happily volunteering to be in those games. It screams recruit. I don't know if it's just harder than it looks. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm just saying I don't get why people are so eager to volunteer for things. The guy really thought, oh, if I answer the phone twice, it's like standing by a tree that was just struck by lightning. And it's like, oh, the first time, instead of getting struck by lightning, the tree provided me with money, like money fell off the tree or something in this once in a lifetime thing. So let me stand by the tree and hug it a second time in hopes that it's going to give me something else that I want. That made no sense to me. Maybe the single guy will have to volunteer a kidney. They really think it'll all be good. And anyone that watched the show, even the 3 episodes that I watched so far, I already know that there's no good out of it. There's no good scenario where you just volunteer and it's like, oh, this amazing thing just happened for you. No, the whole point of the game is for you to always be on edge. And every good thing that you might get is a double-edged sword. So yeah, I don't know what some of them were thinking. Sorry, y'all, I'm arguing with someone on Snapchat. Anyways, that was my reaction to the Squid Games episode 1 to 5. I'm definitely going to be recapping the challenge on Wednesday. I haven't been doing my Survivor recaps. I have to admit, it's partially because even after 4 seasons, I never seem to understand what's going on Survivor, especially this season. It seems like I'm always confused. I enjoy watching it, but when it comes to recaps, I like to actually know at least a little bit about what I'm talking about before I do the recap. But I might get back into my Survivor recaps because I did them last year when I was a complete rookie. House of Villains took a break this week. So this week's episode, I'll be recapping. And that's it for now. Also, I'm going to be having a lot of new content for my music and mental health page. So if you have not followed that page, please do so now. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your evening. And we will talk again soon.